My name is William F. Liebenow, and everybody calls me Bud. I was commanding officer of the PT-157 for 14 months in the South Pacific. I was commander of the PT-199 in the English Channel, European Theater for 1 year. I got the Silver Star for Pacific Action and the Bronze Star for missions in D-Day. I was born in Fredericksburg, Virginia in January 1920. I had 3 sisters and 1 brother. The 3 sisters were older than I was, but my brother was younger, 1 year younger. My youngest sister, who was only 1 year older than I was, she died at the age of 7, I think. Rheumatic fever or something in those days, you did not. But of course, everybody in those days, depression coming on, and so anyway, all we thought about was trying to earn some money. So the first job I ever got was, I was 9 years old, selling Saturday Evening Post, Ladies' Home Journal, and the Country Gentleman, 3 magazines. And get a penny and a half for selling each one. But pretty soon I got old enough, I got a paper route. I delivered Richmond Times Dispatch in Fredericksburg. They'd send them up on the train in the morning. We go down at 5 o'clock, meet the train, get our papers and deliver them. I made enough on the paper route to buy a bicycle, which I paid $10 for. At $2 a week, it was a used bicycle, and I paid the dealer $2 a week. And when I got that paid for, I got enough to buy a new bicycle. And he gave me $10 on the new one, which cost $25, so I only had to pay $15. When Roosevelt allowed 3.2 beer, I was 13 years old then, and the grocery store, only a couple blocks from us, started a beer distributing place. They'd get the beer in and distribute it, So I got a job on a beer truck, was helping, lift the bottles. And they'd bring back the bottles, we'd have to wash them out, and reclaim them. And I never drank beer in my life because working in that warehouse at that age, breathing that stuff. But anyway, it was, that's good money.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
I was accepted in the V-12 Navy program December the 23rd, 1941. Everybody, after Pearl Harbor, we all went to join up with something. And I was accepted and sent to Notre Dame for indoctrination, and then to Northwestern to midshipman school. Got my commission as an ensign and was accepted in PT boats. Commander then, Bulkley, who was the commanding officer of the squadron of PTs that took MacArthur to the Philippines, came to Northwestern looking for volunteers, and I was accepted into PT boats.
You men are about to begin training in one of the most fascinating and adventurous branches of the Navy. A branch in which you'll be able to come to close grips with the enemy, and when at close grips, to deliver a blow with one of the most powerful craft this war has developed and exploited, the motor torpedo boat, the PT.
And was sent to torpedo school and then to motor torpedo boat school in Newport, Rhode Island. After PT school, I got into Squadron 9, PT Boat Squadron 9, which was commanded by Robert Kelly. At the beginning of the war, at Pearl Harbor, you know, our Pacific fleet was just about destroyed. PT boats could be built on an assembly line basis. They were 80-foot long, Elko boats were, and the Higgins boats were 77 foot. Anyway, they turned them out, you know, like like they do automobiles nowadays, I guess. But anyway, squadrons of them were sent to the war zones to harass the Japanese fleet. Is about what we were trying to do. Well, we had 12-cylinder Packet engines, three engines and 3 props. So we could really maneuver a boat that was, you could put one in reverse, one forward, and turn on a dime. And our boat was at speed trials off of Panama when we were in shakedown. Our boat was clocked at 52 knots, which is about 64, 5 miles an hour. We carried 4 torpedoes, one 20 millimeter, and incidentally, Squadron 9 was the only ones that had the 20 millimeter in a forward turret because Kelly insisted on having it. We had 50 caliber machine guns in the after turret, anti-aircraft guns. And later on, we put the Marines gave us a 37 millimeter that we planted on the bow. So we kind of took what we could get as far as armament was concerned. The original boats came out with 250 caliber machine guns, the forward turret, and 250 caliber machine guns in the after turret for anti-aircraft fire. And we had a smoke generator in the back, and the torpedoes, and that was about it. They had an officer's quarters, which was a little bench and a table in front of kind of a desk like. Then they had the crew's quarters where the 12 men up against the bulkhead had the bunks, and they had a table in there where they ate. I always ate with the crew. I was the commanding officer of the PT-157, and we had a crew of 12. The crew called me skipper. The boat was named Aces and Eights. That's a dead man's hand that Wild Bill Hickok was holding when they were shot. And our machinist mate, one of them was an artist, I guess, and anyway, he painted the sign. Our crew, we bonded real well. We had, I think I had the best crew in the South Pacific. We were very close. What our job was as PT boats was to do as much damage as we could to the Japanese fleet to keep them from supplying or getting their people out of the islands. We would go out at night, and if we encountered any, usually Japanese destroyers or troop ships, we'd go out and fire our torpedoes at them. The Japanese, when the PT boats were out there, they would, with all these torpedoes flying around, they didn't want to stay there, so they'd get out as soon as they could. And so that was our job. We had 12 boats to a squadron. A typical day at the after we got in the war zone, we would anchor our boats out 3 in a nest. So as and we'd always keep somebody aboard that could run that boat. And during air attacks, we'd scatter. All the boats would break the nest and scatter. We had, the only really bad time we'd have with the aircraft was when we were on patrol and we'd leave a wake and they'd dive in on us. We had one experience where we were escorting a troop of Marines to be landed on an island. This was at night. And 3 Japanese aircraft came over at us. The only thing we could do is draw the aircraft to us so they wouldn't get the troops. So we ran all in circles. We'd lay smoke puffs, and the Japanese took the bait and they'd dive at us, and we could very easily avoid a plane when it was coming in because he couldn't change and we could go this way or that way. So we were able to draw the planes away from the thing, and they dropped all their bombs right on our smoke puffs. And they flew off, and we were quite proud to receive the cheers from the Marines when we got back alongside. But those kind of things happen all the time. We got to Rendover. It's where Jack Kennedy joined the boats there. I'd gone to torpedo school with him, and we actually were teammates while we were there, so I knew him pretty well. 2 more boats came out from the States about this time, and that was one of those boats was Jack Kennedy's PT-109. So he and Bill Battle's boat and our boat were three odd boats that had been taken over by Commander Warfield. So we kind of were thrown together. During this period of time on patrols, we went out every night on patrols. And this was when the PT-109 was sunk. It was rammed by Japanese destroyers. Two of Jack's crew, the two engine room personnel, were lost. That part of the boat sank when the destroyer went through it. And the rest of them were able to cling to the forecastle of the boat, which they were wooden boats, and they floated. And they were able to cling to them and get to a small island. And they were found by two Pacific natives, and Jack was taken over to a Australian Coast Watcher station. But the first we knew that the crew had been able to survive the ramming was when Jack wrote on a coconut shell, 11 safe, natives no posit. And the natives rowed a canoe down to our base at Liebenow. And Wilford Westell, torpedoman anyway, the natives gave him the coconut shell. And of course, we took it into Warfield, and he called a meeting of the boat captains and then kicked around what to do. It was finally decided at this boat captains meeting where they would risk one boat to attempt to rescue. And we just happened to be the boat that they picked out. I always said that the reason they picked us was because we had the best boat crew in the South Pacific. But my gunner's mate, Jimmy Smith, straightened me out on that. He said they picked us because we were the most expendable. Well, we took the two natives that had paddled the canoe down to the base. We took those two aboard. They were in the cockpit with me, and they guided us up to the Australian Coast Watcher station. And they guided us up to the island he was on. And they had Jack Kennedy there with him. And Jack came out in a canoe and met us, and we fired recognition shots, and we pulled Jack aboard. And he and the two natives guided us over to the island where the rest of the crew was. We pulled right up to the island, and we were able to get them aboard with no problem. Although a lot of stories have come out about guys getting in rowboats and rowing miles back and forth and picking up the crew, but it wasn't a whole lot to it. We just pulled up to the island. We put over the small dinghy so we could lift the two badly wounded guys up on the boat, and the rest of them climbed aboard, and we brought them back. After I spent 14 months in the South Pacific, I was sent back to the States for 2 weeks and then to Dartmouth, England. During that time, during that winter and spring, we had joined a British PT boat squadron. We only had 3 boats with Bulkley in command. And I was the designated landing officer for the 3 boats. Our job was we'd take a PT boat over to the beach. This was before D-Day, and we'd get in a small dinghy, and I had 2 oarsmen. We'd row into the beach and meet French underground people or pick up flyers that had been shot down over France and bring them out. People that had to get out of France or get in. We had some strange missions. We were sent over there to get sand samples off of the Normandy beach before D-Day. And we had, they wouldn't tell us what we were doing on these missions. We had collect sand on the beach, and the rumor was that the Queen of England wanted some trophies to send. No, that's all I knew. If I got captured, that's all I knew that we were getting it for. But we'd gotten all kinds of stories of why they were saying. But anyway, the most logical sounding was that they were sending samples back to the lab in London to check and see the compression that they would hold tanks going up the beach. That was one story. And another story was the Germans had buried gas canisters on the beach, and we could, by getting the sand, we could have the labs test and see if there was any gas leaking. But I still don't know why we got it, but anyway, we got sand and carried it back. I don't know whether the Queen put it up or whether the labs got it, but that's what happened. Our duty there was it was, not. We were sneakers. We sneaked back and forth across the channel and did that thing. The only really terrifying experience I had in those missions was, actually it was maybe the 2nd or 3rd mission I'd been on. When we got to the beach, there was a German patrol, and it's pitch dark. The only reason we spotted them was because a couple of them lit up cigarettes. They were walking along, patrolling the beach, and so we stopped. And we sat there in the water, and we thought they'd never leave. They stood there and smoking and yakking. We could even hear them. We thought surely they were going to spot us, but they didn't. But we stayed there until they finally went by. We rowed on into the beach and completed our mission. At that time, it was to drop off, I think, 2 French underground guys that had to get back in France. For the D-Day invasion, I was made commander of the PT-199. Our first job, H-4 hours, D-Day, that's 4 hours before the landing started. We escorted um, 12 rocket boats. I call them rocket boats. They were landing craft that had been converted to rockets. In those days, we didn't have smart rockets. They had banks of rockets on these landing craft, and we escorted them in to the shore. This was 4 hours before the landing started to knock out a gun emplacement over Cherbourg. And we had a Marine captain aboard to direct the boats. You know, he was in charge of them. We got the boats lined up along the beach below Cherbourg, and they fired the rockets at the signal from the Marine. And of course, when they fired, the Germans fired, and none of those boats got back. They were all destroyed. It was a real mess. As we were coming back from that mission, daylight was coming. The landing had started. The USS Corey, a destroyer, U.S. destroyer, was leading the invasion, going along the beach shelling, and they hit a mine, came under fire from the shore batteries, and they had to abandon ship. The ship sunk. We went in and picked up survivors of that thing, and we picked up 61 survivors from the Corey, and we took them to the wounded. We took to a hospital ship, and the rest of them we put on another destroyer. And of course, that was all during the D-Day operation. We stayed on the beach, and when finally the invasions came and they were solidified the beach, we stayed on that beach for the 5 days and nights. I don't remember sleeping the whole time. You know, at that time, everybody was trying to get, at least all of my friends, everybody was trying to get into the service. Everybody was involved, and you know, you felt like you were part of a big team, and there wasn't a whole lot of bickering and stuff going on. Everybody was concentrated, and you felt you were part of a big movement. And I wouldn't trade it for anything.